Alright, 15 Cheetos down, and I'm ready to go. I thought you'd like a little Van Halen to get this started. Well, maybe you're just continuing part one. But I'm starting over again with this because I had no idea that it takes about 15 minutes for Screencast-O-Matic to save a video file. But it does, in case you're curious. And now we're back to where we had left off. We are now into the country of Jordan. Let's go back to the Google Maps here. And this is the area we're studying again. You can see all of these countries over here. We have, oops, that's too much. A little too close for comfort there. See, we have Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan down here. I don't like how Google Maps has the borders drawn. I think you can see it a little bit better the farther out you go. But this is, again, the area we're talking about. Specifically, this information can be found in Chapter 8 if you're curious, which I really highly doubt many of you are going to go read about. But this is the bare bones of what is going on here, and this is what we're talking about with Jordan. Jordan was a country that was created after World War I, after the Ottoman Empire split apart. Most people are Bedouins. If you remember, we saw in the Negev Desert video a Bedouin who is an Arabic-speaking nomad who lives in the desert. And again, just like other areas in the Middle East, water shortage is a big issue. And they rely on financial aid from other countries. This was going to be an eQuest question, but we'll just show you Israel as we get ready for the Israel part. How about there we go, we're ready.
The state of Israel is located in the Middle East along the Mediterranean Sea. It's bordered by Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and Egypt. Although it's smaller than the state of New Jersey, Israel is home to over 6 million people. Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. It is also the spiritual home of 3 of the world's major religions: Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. Jerusalem holds enormous importance for all 3 groups, and all 3 have claimed the city as their own. Jerusalem's old city is made up of a diverse collection of people and architecture. There are Jewish, Muslim, Christian, and Armenian Orthodox sections all crammed into a single square mile. But outside the old city, Jerusalem's inhabitants live in a modern city with high-rise buildings, supermarkets, businesses, and schools. Over the past 3,000 years, Jerusalem has been conquered, destroyed, and rebuilt many times. Jerusalem got its start some 6,000 years ago when settlers proclaimed that Mount Moriah would connect them to their God. Villages and then a city slowly grew up around the mountain. In about 1000 BC, King David conquered the city and made it the capital for the tribes of Israel. He also brought the belief in a new God, Yahweh. King Solomon built a great temple on the holy mountain. 3,000 years later, the mountain is hidden under a platform made of stone, the Temple Mount. Although the temple was destroyed long ago, Jews from all over the world still gather at the remnants of the wall that supported it, the Western Wall. Also called the Wailing Wall, it's said that God's presence is particularly strong here. Countless messages and prayers to God are packed between the stones of the wall. For Baruch Kaplan, these stones lie at the center of his faith.
For me personally, I can touch my relationship with God to the extent that I can touch these stones, because these stones have been standing here listening to the prayers of mankind for thousands of years.
Directly above the Western Wall stands a magnificent Islamic shrine. The Dome of the Rock was completed in AD 691, when the Muslims ruled Jerusalem. The dome is built over the top of Mount Moriah. Islam proclaims that this was the spot where the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven to speak with Allah and the 10 great prophets. Shireen al-Raja is a Muslim born in Jerusalem and has been coming to the Dome of the Rock since she was young.
I like the feeling that everybody's coming here, like all the Muslims from all over. We have the same feeling, we share the same thing. I mean, everybody's praying, everybody's thinking, everybody's charging himself, everybody's cheering up. If you go around, you'll find a lot of people crying.
About 400 yards away is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. This site is important to Christians. The church was built in 1149, and some say it is the location of Jesus' tomb. Inside the church lies the holy rock of Golgotha. Christians believe this rock is from the hill where Jesus was crucified. Bishop Nicephorus is a Greek Orthodox clergyman who has served in Jerusalem for 30 years.
By seeing these places, touching them, we strengthen our faith. With our imagination, we can feel the emotions and the feelings of the people that came before us.
With all these competing religious, cultural, and historic claims to the city, it's easy to see why so many people feel so strongly about Jerusalem, why they've been fighting for it over the centuries, and why they're still willing to fight for it today.
So that video was kind of interesting, covering the city of Jerusalem specifically, the capital of Israel. And you really can tell that a lot of these places feel very, very strongly about this city. And with Israel being typically now a Jewish country, you can see there's a lot of conflict because every single religion feels that their Holy Land is within the city of Jerusalem. By every single religion, I meant Islam, Christianity, and Judaism all feel very strongly about the city of Jerusalem. Again, as I said, continue the notes. This is home to the 3 of the most major world religions maybe in the world of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. They all have a sacred holy spot here. Zionism is a nationalist movement calling for Jews to establish a Jewish state in their ancient homeland. Before World War II had ended, Israel did not exist. Israel was known as Palestine. It was a Muslim state. After World War II, though, if you remember with the Holocaust, a lot of Europeans felt bad for the Jewish people, and they created Israel where Palestine was. So it gave the Jewish people a place to go. But if you were a Muslim living in this area, you now had Jewish people living where you used to be. So a lot of the Palestinians are upset that Israel has been created because the Jewish people used to not be there. They used to be all Muslim and a little bit of Christian. But now the Europeans just gave this area in the Middle East to the Jewish people and didn't really care too much about what the Muslims thought. In the past, also way before World War II, when the Roman Empire was in control of this area, they told the Jews to leave. This was called the diaspora. It was so that this could be Christian territory, and that relates to the Crusades. When Islam and Muslims had begun to have a lot of strength in this area, they had taken over Jerusalem, and the Christians during the medieval time period were called to serve and to reclaim the Holy Land from the Muslims. It was even told during the Crusades that if somebody was a Christian warrior fighting in this area, that they would be automatically given, admitted into heaven for dying in battle. So it was a very, very, very bloody area, and still is today with all the issues that are happening in the Middle East. They don't seem to get along very well. However, before, again, like I said, World War II and World War I, the Ottoman Empire had control of basically the entire Middle East and a lot of Central Asia, and they were a Muslim nation. Today, they have a prime minister and a parliament, also known as the Knesset. Very many cities in this area For those of you that are IU basketball fans, there are a couple IU former basketball players that play professional basketball within Israel, not in Jerusalem, in a city off to the south, though. But, so yeah, there's an IU basketball connection there. The capital city of Israel, again, Jerusalem, 80% of people are Jews. The rest are Muslim and Christian Arabs. The national languages are Hebrew, which is the traditional Jewish language, and Arabic. Today, the culture in rural settlements, Judaism influences life through holidays and religious expectations. If you ever heard of food being kosher, it means that it's allowed in Jewish dietary laws. So kosher, when you hear kosher, think that, oh, it's okay for Jewish people to eat. Also, Jewish people cannot eat pork, cannot eat shellfish, or meat and dairy products that are mixed together. A kibbutz is a large farm where Jewish people share everything in common. The pictures at the bottom, you see at the bottom left, a kosher McDonald's and a kibbutz in the bottom right, where everything is kind of shared. One of the things that's kind of interesting that I hope we have enough time to watch in this screencast is something called the 6-Day War. What happened was, after Israel was created, Israel went to war with mostly other Muslim countries because, remember, the area was a Muslim area, and the Europeans just created this Jewish state for the Jewish people, kind of pushing the Muslims away from areas they thought were sacred to them and very holy places to them. And they were not happy about it, and they still are not, and they've been fighting ever since. That's basically all that means is the 6-Day War was, even though the Jewish people have been outnumbered, their military is very, very strong and has a lot of support from Western countries like the United States and other European countries. But they have really had nobody been able to conquer them since they've been created after World War II. However, there are Palestinian territories that are not part of Israel that are full of Palestinian people. They are the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, and here you can see a little bit of Gaza, which is small, crowded, and unemployment is very high. And Israel gave the Gaza Strip, which is along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea, back to Israel, or Israel gave the Gaza back to the Palestinians in 2005. Another place is the West Bank. The West Bank is made up of farmers, and conflict over this area is intense between Muslims and Jews. The eastern Jerusalem part is divided into Jewish, Christian, and Muslim neighborhoods. It's very diverse, and there's a lot of conflict in this area. Israel has given parts of the territories back in order for the Palestinians to renounce terrorism, but conflict still continues. And you hear all the time in the news about the Middle Eastern countries saying that they are enemies with Israel. The United States is very close to Israel as far as diplomatic relations go, and a lot of countries are asking if any of these Muslim countries attack Israel, if the United States would step in and help Israel. And many people are afraid that a large, huge war could happen if things got out of hand. But so that's basically all of Chapter 8, done in a total of about 30 minutes. Kind of flew through it, and as you can probably guess, there's a lot more to it. But we just don't have as much time in the school year as we would like to be able to get this done in time. So I want to make sure we have this all covered, and we're ready for I-STEP. And this is the end of Middle Eastern clip number 2.